Hello, 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 friends. Good evening, good evening, and good evening. Welcome to WeatherBrains episode number 556. This is for Monday, September 12th. This is the pre-show. It's the magical time of the program where we share boring personal stories, humorous anecdotes, and occasionally say outrageous things. And we know this is going to be a wild evening because, Rick, me and you are the only two not at the party.
Outrageous things may be an understatement this evening. I've been watching Twitter, and they've been at the broadcasters' dinner for a couple hours now. So there's no telling what's going to happen.
Yeah, we have no idea. We just hope they're not in jail. So for those that don't know, this is the week of the annual National Weather Association meeting in Norfolk, Virginia, and our crew, for the most part, is there. I think we have three left behind this year. Rick is behind. I'm obviously not there. And Kevin Selly, I do believe, is home. So
Right.
There's three of us back home. And we got Bill and the gang there, as you can see. Looks like Bill's on his phone. We are making an effort to get in Brian, who I think has the main computer, who I don't think sees the hangout invitation. But this is going to be a fun logistical program because doing these live shows. Now, last year, Rick, you guys in Oklahoma City, that was the way to go. That was awesome.
We got spoiled last year. That was a great setup.
I mean, we had professional, with multiple camera angles. We had pros running it, and it was just great. So this is back in October of last year. We were live at the National Weather Center in Norman. And this week, we don't know what's going to happen. So let me unmute Bill, or Bill can unmute himself, and let's see if hey, Bill.
James. Hey, James. Hey, Rick.
Hey, how's it going?
It's a little crazy here.
I bet.
Dr. John Scala. There we go. There we go. Brian's having trouble connecting to the Hangout. There's Aubrey.
Wow, this is kind of exciting. The gang's all there.
Yeah, but they can't connect. So anyway.
So how did you connect?
On my iPhone. So Brian's working on it. Can you send him the URL, James?
What URL? Now that we're not, these originate off YouTube now, so there's no page. We're
he doesn't
in
have a
different
URL anymore.
Boy, what a look.
Yeah, that didn't look good.
I think Brian has gas.
Yeah. So I just dropped in as a chat to you the YouTube address. I don't know if that'll help. Maybe it will. In fact, I can drop it in the chat room, and I bet you Bill can't see the chat room because he's on his phone.
See if you can see the chat room.
I sent him a note and said trouble getting in.
He knows that. Well, Brian has the most beautiful setup, but we can't use it. So.
Wow.
Let's see.
It's very loud.
I will text Brian the YouTube link.
Well, if I connect, it's over here.
And for those that are new to this, if you just move this scrubber about 10 minutes in, I promise we'll get to the regular Purdue show. We just want you to sit through what we sit through every week, getting everybody on. And whenever we're live, it's always a challenge. But at least we have one live camera in operation here.
Well, you've got a lot of brains there together, though. We should be able to make this work.
I mean,
a lot of brain power there.
The IQ power, it's stunning. And the lovely Aubrey is there. Wow.
She is. So jealous we couldn't be there. And there's Dr. John.
Dr. John's got his shirt. I can tell Dr. John by that hair. I mean, that's his signature.
That's all you need to see.
James, did you see those pictures of Dr. John being the Swami?
Yeah, that's very disturbing. In fact, but while we're in the pre-show here, I'll just go ahead and show some of these. Let me just go right down to the one that's very disturbing. This thing right here, I don't know what to say. Wow.
He says he is retired as the Swami, James.
No Swami tonight?
It looks like the Jiffy Pop. Rick and I are old enough to remember this. Remember the Jiffy Pop you cook like over the.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
the stove, and it would just kind of balloon up. That looks like what John's got on his head. The best part is that girl. Look at the look of that girl that's looking at him. She's got this look of horror.
Well, James, you would not believe what a success the WeatherFest was.
Well, obviously, whenever Dr. John is wearing a Swami hat, you know it's got to be good.
He didn't even get a break for 7 hours. I mean, it was just unbelievable. We had 3,500 people. It was magnificent.
It also kind of looked like one of those old school hair dryers with the hose attached to it, you know?
Yeah.
That'd be more realistic.
But I'm telling you,
Rick said
the
it
classic.
looked like one of those old school hair dryers.
Look at that girl's face. That's the best part, right? She said, "What kind of a loser, goober, creeper is this guy?" I mean,
hush
wow.
up! I wanted him to come back on the show, and that's not going to do it. I'm done. He just quit, James. Dang it!
Well, no, I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about the look on that girl's face right there. I mean, that is a total look of horror.
She just doesn't understand.
And then John took the hat off, and that is the tail of two hairs right there.
Yeah, that is. You're right.
The tail of two hairs. We noticed Nate. It looks like somebody threw up on his shirt in this shot. So that Nate has been live tweeting. His fingers are down to a nub.
We're in over here.
We're in.
Wow.
Brian has cracked the code.
Wow. So Brian is in, and again, we're about 5 minutes out. We'll let the television here in about 5 minutes, 25 after the hour. So let me stop sharing these pictures. We'll show more pictures in just a little bit. And it looks like Brian has no bandwidth, which is the next problem here. I mean, he is sucking a golf ball through a garden hose, as we say.
We see movement, at least.
Yeah, no. He showed up for a second, and it looks like his bandwidth is zilch. They must be down at the House of Hunan restaurant or something, using stolen Wi-Fi. But we do have audio, so I'm going to mute Brian for just a second. If it comes to it, we'll use the audio, and that will be sufficient, because for those that watch, most people listen to the produced podcast version. All right, so I'm seeing Brian's video, or I did, and it's gone. Yeah, he's got no bandwidth. So we'll put Bill's camera up. Now, Bill's got good bandwidth. He's got, but he's on a phone, and obviously it's going to be hard to do it off a phone. Brian has the fancy computer set up there. And
you got me muted, or do you have me muted? You don't have me muted now.
We actually see you now. You're in the dark, but we see you.
Can you hear me, James?
No.
Yeah, I'm in a corner, so.
Yeah, your bandwidth is very, very, very poor, it looks like.
Okay.
Are you on your MiFi, or what do you got going on there? Hello. Hello.
I can still hear you. I don't know if you can see us or not.
Can you hear me say hello?
Yes.
Okay. At the moment, you're stable. At first, there was not even enough bandwidth to support audio.
I was stable 6 hours ago.
So
yeah, John's not stable right now.
So are you guys going to share a mic, or how's this going to work?
Well, we've got 4 microphones here. Right over here. Right there.
Wow. This is a fancy production.
It is.
I have a microphone.
Okay, I heard Bill, so that's one mic, and I hear Brian, that's 2 mics.
And we've got John and Aubrey. Say something.
ABC 1 2 3 testing.
That should
All
be
right,
John.
we got John. And his, hey, if you can hear me, what are you using for bandwidth, Brian? Yeah, this is going to be fun. He's got no bandwidth. I mean, he's got none.
Every time you say the word bandwidth, that happens. So
Yeah. Wow. So, if me and you, Rick, we'll talk about our personal lives and share boring stories for 90 minutes here.
we could do it.
We could. It might be the greatest show ever. Now, Brian, if you can hear us, we do not have audio. We do not have video. The bandwidth is it's almost like you're on a 1200 baud modem, and most people have no idea what that is. So, yeah, we're about to join the television crowd here. So,
Serve one.
Okay, is that any better, James?
no. But what are
I didn't
Brian?
think it's next to Brian.
What
Audio sounds better.
I'm on
Yeah,
my cell phone now.
You're actually stable at the moment. You're dark as
Okay.
could be.
Yeah, can't do anything about that. They don't have any lights in the corner over here.
I think
This
they're in a
is just
strip
an
joint.
intimate dinner with Aubrey and I.
It's some dive bar.
I think, Rick, they're in a strip joint. They're dark, you know.
we
it's
have
just-
lighting.
There we go. How's that?
No,
We got
we're
Martin
being
lighting.
very shady.
Lighting by Scott Martin.
Oh,
Oh, that's better. A little bit.
So whatever you did, your bandwidth is good now. So what did you do?
We're using up
Turn the light
Brian's
on.
data for the
There we
month.
go.
Yeah.
I finally got my
this-
head in there.
So we got 4 mics and we got 1 camera. Boy, they look like the 4 Stooges, the 3 Stooges and the
Don't
Beauty.
say that.
Yeah,
Beauty and the
Three
Beast.
Stooges
This is
and
a
Aubrey.
beautiful heroine.
I can be a fourth stooge.
Aubrey says she can be a fourth stooge.
So the question
Brian
is now,
understands
Don't
me.
admit to that.
Bill, if you can, it looks like it looks like. Well, Rick, how would you describe this scene right here? This is a classic. I gotta do a screen
You
grab.
know,
Disturbing would be one word that comes to mind.
disturbing is one word. Yeah. Intimate.
Intimate. Boy, they are in each other's space.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Hungry would be another word.
Yes, I already
Hungry.
Hungry would be
And
another
we're
word.
taking bets as to how long Scott Martin's arm's going to hold out.
Ah, yes.
So here's the other thing. Now, if one of you guys can turn your phone on and have a second camera, that would take
Yeah.
the pressure off of this. I mean,
I can do that.
Scott Martin
I can
was doing.
switch it. And by the way, let me welcome everybody watching on the television side. This is WeatherBrains. This is the pre-show as we are about to go live from the National Weather Association annual meeting in Virginia. Getting some logistical issues worked out. But yeah, if one of
I
you
don't have
guys
your
can bring up your phone, then we can have
Where's
2
Nate?
cameras and you guys won't
A
have to meet
phone
each
like
other.
this. Kevin is demonstrating a phone like this.
Wow. I was
That's
trying to
a
look
good
at all
use
the
of a prop,
icons
Kevin.
Kevin has on his phone
Right.
there.
So I don't have anything in my ears now. Here with Brian.
Show title.
Oh no!
This is a plethora of
He's
show
taking my
titles here.
earbuds.
A plethora.
Hey, I don't see Nate in the shot. We need a 5th person in there. Where's Nate?
Nate said he wasn't
Nate is
coming.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, they're gone. Wow.
Asked
Kevin,
one
me,
too
you,
many
and Rick,
questions.
buddy, we're going to take the show to new heights here.
Or
Hello,
depths.
Kevin.
He's not
Kevin's
listening.
not going to talk with us. He's not going to say a word. And now somebody's calling me on the Hangouts here. Who is that? Is that
That's
me?
Bill.
Bill.
Calling you?
Am I
And
working?
you,
My
evidently.
microphone got changed. Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
It got changed somehow.
Hmm.
I'll invite Bill back in here. I have a funny feeling with the direction this is going, we're going to wind up using a phone, and we will just pass the phone around to do the interviews. Kind of do it the old-fashioned way. And again, if you're watching on television, we might wind up getting more audio than video here from our live shot, but so it goes in live television. So now we have Brian back.
Oh, he's back!
Hey,
There you go.
Back. We need a beer delivery over
look
here.
who's back.
Oh boy, show title.
Back again.
We need a beer delivery over here. I mean, this
Hey, there's Nate.
Oh, Kevin! I haven't talked to Kevin in eons.
Who's that?
Dr. John.
That's Dr. John.
Oh, look, from the back of the room. There's
Oh,
Mr. Nate Johnson.
There's Nate.
Where is
Now we got a close-up shot of
There
Nate
they are.
here.
Yeah,
He's
there
looking
they
good.
are. I see
Looks
them
like he's
over there.
got powder on
He
his
and
head.
Bill are on
Yeah.
their phone over there.
They're closer to the bar,
Oh,
Dr. John.
that's where they are.
Yeah,
They're closer to the
All
bar.
right,
they're
so-
closer to the bar.
Maybe you could
Joe
deliver
got him.
there.
Oh, it's
So
David.
what's going to happen? I'm going to mute our guests from Virginia, and I'm going to start the show, and I'm going to turn it over to them and let them run with it. Okay?
There's. Oh, man.
Yeah. I mean, Kevin and Rick, this could be a disaster, but let me get the recorders.
I'm
going
excited
here.
to watch.
Yeah, there's no doubt this could be this show could go down the tubes, or it could be the greatest ever. So let me get all my elements queued up here. Stand by. All right, here we go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This episode of WeatherBrains is brought to you by the Soch Reports, social media intelligence for meteorologists. Like meteorologists track the weather, the Soch Reports monitors trends and data in social media. They exist to help you succeed. Stop by their booth at NWA or head to their website, thesocreports.com. That's the SOC reports.com to find out how you too can grow audience by following their proven strategies.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is WeatherBrains, episode number 556. This is for September 12th, 2016. And I'll just say right now, this show could either be the greatest show in the history of WeatherBrains, or it could be a total dud. We'll be finding out soon, because almost all of our characters are in Virginia at the National Weather Association annual meeting. We have done these live shots before. They're a ton of fun. They're fast-paced. But before we go live to Virginia, let's bring in Rick Smith, who is the voice of reason on this show.
Oh boy, we're in. Well, it is. We are in trouble if that's the case.
Yeah.
But no, it's. I've gotten to do the past couple of these remote shows from the NWA meeting, and it's kind of a bummer sitting here. I kind of know the fun and the excitement that's going on there. I think looks like fun and excitement, but this is going to be good. It'll be interesting. We got the majority of the WeatherBrains crew is there in one spot, which is kind of unusual. So can't wait to see how it turns out.
I can't believe it's been a year. It just seemed like yesterday we were all together in Norman, Rick, for your big party last year.
Yep, that's right. Hard to believe it's been a year, but yep.
Kevin Selly, you're a party pooper too. I see you're not there.
No, couldn't make it. It's kind of interesting to watch the video, though. Although I will say I've seen enough in the first few minutes of Nate and Bill's foreheads to last me another 556 episodes.
Yeah, I'm blinded. I can't see anything. I mean, the glare coming on. And before we go out there, let me just say that they are working under fairly harsh conditions. They're at some go-go joint, strip joint or something. There's no light. There's no bandwidth. But that's what makes it special. We've lost, and Brian has a big setup out there, and we've lost Brian due to bandwidth issues. So we're just going to do the best we can with what we got, which is what we always do here. But it's always interesting. And yeah, I can't make it either. I feel bad, but I accepted a talk request a long time ago. I'm actually flying to Minnesota tomorrow. And I'll be in Minneapolis for a few days at an IWT meeting there, and looking forward to that for my friends from Minnesota. But the one crew I see, I got Bill Murray and Nate Johnson, and you guys need to unmute and talk to me. Talk to me.
Hey, guys. Welcome to Norfolk.
Yay.
Can you hear us over the din of dinner?
Barely.
We thought everyone would be gone to karaoke by now, but that's not working.
Well, just tell them to get out of there. Leave. Bye-bye.
They won't leave. We called the police, but they're not here yet.
So I got to ask, where exactly are you guys located? I see something behind you that says Brick Beer. What does that say back there?
We're at the Brick Anchor Brew House, which is the broadcaster's dinner for the 41st annual NWA meeting.
I wasn't aware that karaoke was a meteorological phenomenon.
Oh, I wasn't supposed to tell about that, was I? Okay. All right.
The Japanese Meteorological Association.
Oh, brother. And but Nate Johnson has been live tweeting all day, so his fingers are down to nubs right now, probably.
Yeah, they're bleeding. He's the best. There's no question.
I don't know how he
Everyone
does
tries
it.
to keep up with him.
It's like it's almost like we're
Come
there
over here.
when you.
Forget Brian. He can't get it done.
Oh, great. I get to share your earwax. Better than this.
What's gross now? They're sharing earwax by
Yes.
passing their earbuds around. This is
Community
nasty.
earwax. Yeah.
Dr. John is looking good as ever, and let me just real quick here. I'm gonna do a screen share for those that are watching
Lord.
this. I'm just saying that there's just all kind of disturbing images coming in from this thing.
I got one too. Wait till I show you what David Rodney from Nashville Severe Weather sent me. Hang on. Now, what did I say at the top of the show, right? I said I'd seen enough of Nate and Bill's foreheads to last me a little while.
Yeah, well, there's Nate.
Completely unprompted, David sends me a picture that I'll share with you in just a second. Let's see. Okay, here we go. This is the picture that I get from David.
Oh boy, look at the glare coming off those heads. Wow.
David, do you know how long I
Oh wait, there we go. Yeah, there's more heads.
Wow.
Somebody there in the picture doesn't want to be identified. They're like covering up their face.
I don't blame him. I clearly would not want to be in that photograph either.
This
their
feels a
spouse
lot
might
Kind of
find
get
out.
settled. Doc.
Yeah, this
We need to get
feels a lot
settled
more.
for a second.
Go ahead.
That's where all the WeatherBrains are. Right there.
This
Yeah, but
feels
I'm
a lot more jovial than last year.
I think
But this
you can bring it up. You can
this
bring
thing
it
right
up.
here with Dr. John, this is just very disturbing. Dr. John, what exactly are you wearing on your head?
That, they made me wear that. That's a Swami hat. Yeah. In fact, many of the kids thought I was Aladdin, but I told them I'm the weather brain. All the brains are located right in that faculty.
Well, I have to hand it to Dr. John because he did this for 7 straight hours.
7 hours, James.
Let me pan over. The best part about this picture is this young girl. Ah! I mean, that right there tells the story. The parents are probably thinking I would not let my daughter within 8 feet of this guy. So
There are lots of sleepless children in Norfolk now because of this.
wow.
I think we have a show title. It's Dr. John and the Swami hat.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Well,
we're waiting
he
on
won the most
Brian.
valuable exhibitor award for this in the small class division.
Wow. But we're going through some pictures. But again, this is the National Weather Association annual meeting, and I guess we should ask you guys. In fact, I'll kill the screen share for just a second. We'll talk about these pictures in a minute. But for those people that have never attended, what is it they're missing, and why are you guys so happy?
Well, you know, this is an unusual situation, James, because this is the second meeting in a fiscal year, and we really didn't think we would have a great turnout. But we've got over 500 meteorologists here. We had a hugely successful Weather Fest. We had 3,500 people show up. You know, we've had great addresses, you know, today from Dr. Catherine Sullivan of NOAA. The broadcaster sessions yesterday went fantastic. Got a big day tomorrow, kicked off with Dr. Louis Uccellini. We got a huge Goes-R exhibit tomorrow night. We're going to be doing that. It's one of the best ones ever.
And James, listen, the Science Museum expects 600 people on a weekend to attend that facility, and we brought in 3,500.
Wow. That's
So
fantastic.
It was a great experience. This is the best broadcasters dinner probably, too. It's a great location. You know, everybody's having a great time. There are lots of fantastic people here. You know, it's just wonderful.
And again, for those that are listening, the audio is low coming from Bill and Dr. John. And unfortunately, I can't boost the levels from here, and we're having to take them on a phone. And that Brian, who has the big setup, is not for some. I think he has a bandwidth problem. He can't get in. But Brian brought the big mixer. He's got 4 mics. And y'all got to talk really loud on the ones with Bill because we cannot hear you. Hello. Hello. So Aubrey, how's it been?
Oh, it's been fantastic. This is the best conference ever.
Wow.
Other than the fact that we can't get Brian's computer on WeatherBrains.
Wow. So what happened to Brian?
It's not letting him on.
Yeah,
He's not
it's not
he's
working.
tried several different browsers. It's not letting him on Google Hangouts. We're not sure what the issue is.
He's sitting alone in a corner, unfortunately.
He is
I mean,
sitting alone in a corner in front of a blank screen.
And again, notice we have
Unfortunately,
Kevin on a hangout, and we have Rick on a hangout, and we have me on a hangout. So
I don't know how we're able to get on over here on the little cell phone and we can't access on the computer.
I feel like we should ask Aubrey about that bail money question that we mentioned last week too.
Bail money. I only brought $250 for bail. That's enough for me and no one else.
all right. So
That's not very much.
what we're going to wind up doing here is you guys are going to be on a phone, and I don't know how you want to do this, pass it around or whatever, but looks like we're stuck on a phone tonight.
Yeah, we still haven't eaten yet, so we're all very hungry.
Oh, great. They'll
Have
give
you
us
guys
about 2 minutes of content, guys, and then we got to pick it
Have
up
you
for the
guys
rest of the
eaten?
90
Have you
minutes.
eaten? All right, Bill's eaten. Have you eaten?
No.
Dr. John has not eaten. I have not eaten.
I'm having a liquid dinner.
Nate has not eaten yet. I'm not sure if Peter's. Yeah, we've been here for a while. It's
Well, forget that. Oh,
they-
Aubrey, tug on Dr. John's hair and let's see if that thing's real.
Dr. John. It's as real as Trump's.
Wow. No man should have hair that good looking. It's unbelievable.
James,
It's
I
better than
told you.
mine.
All you need to do is drink water, chocolate milk, and beer, and your hair will be just like this.
And there's another show title, Water, Chocolate Milk, and Beer.
It works.
How can you go wrong? with
That's
those
better,
two
yeah.
suggestions?
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it.
James, I
Not
must
together,
tell
I
you,
hope.
I missed you guys.
Yes.
I know I've been off the show for a while, and my work has just kept me away, but I miss you guys.
Well, the feeling is mutual, Dr. John. You were loved and admired, and I know you'll get back. I know this will whet your appetite, and you just want to come right back on the show. So,
James, I respect you immensely, and there's been a loss.
and it's like I don't have anybody to share my Bart Starr stories with or anything.
There
I
you
mean,
go, James. There you go.
I see Bart Starr's wife at the beauty parlor every couple of weeks, and I always tell about that one fan I know that lives in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Oh, man. And every day I sit at my desk, and Bart's autograph to me is right over my desk.
Wow. Well, he's hanging in there. He's got some health issues, but he's hanging in there, and his wife is a very sweet person. And I saw some of the Wisconsin-Tennessee football game up at Lambeau Field.
And Lambeau Field, that's right.
Yeah, they showed Bart's number and everything up there, but he's a great guy. So listen. So what's going to happen? You guys got to carry the show on this phone here. So go carry the show.
So. All right, introduce our first guest, Bill.
Oh, we have Nick Walker.
Look what we have.
Oh, everybody's using my earbuds.
Yeah, this is nasty. I'm just saying, we got some ear jam problems here. I'm glad I'm not involved in this.
You don't have anything going on with your ear?
No, I don't, but I will later, I'm sure.
Is it Zika of the ear?
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Hey, James, how's it going tonight?
Hey, Nick, what are y'all doing, man? Just what's happening?
Yeah, the broadcasters' dinner. It's really noisy, as you. Yeah, this is one of the highlights of the conference. And, broadcasters' dinner, and everybody's here except for you. We miss you.
Well, you got Rick Smith, you got Kevin, and you got me. We're the party poopers. So, wow, sorry. So, let's see, Nick. I got a picture of you here. I got pictures of everybody. So, let's see what Nick is doing here. Looks like Nick is signing autographs.
Is this Weatherfest? Oh look!
There we go. Oh wow!
Nick was so awesome.
It was really quite an event. Bill Murray did a fantastic job putting this together.
Amen.
Amazing.
They all came to see Nick and Dr. Scala.
Well, did you get a picture of Dr. Scala in his big hat?
Oh yeah. We got that Swami hat. That's a classic.
And did you see that? That was actually in the newspaper. In the Virginian Pilot newspaper was that picture.
There's a bright child. Yeah, guard your line.
All right, so I tell you what, guys, we're having a hard time hearing you guys on the phone because The crowd is louder than the talent there. So let's go to Brian Peters. I'm going to mute Bill, and let's see. Brian, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? I don't know. The crowd is loud. There's no doubt about that.
Yes, we actually have your video and we have your audio, so you are good to go.
Hooray for a hot spot! I got to give a shout out to the where'd the card go? Where'd the card go? There it is. I got to give a shout out to our location here. We're at Brick Anchor in Norfolk, Virginia, and give a shout out to Michael Garrett or Gassett, who's the manager here, for letting us use his bandwidth, and we're having a great time. There's lots of noise, lots of activity. Everybody in the world that's related to weather is here, except you guys.
All right, so what's going to happen now, Brian? I'm going to turn the floor over to you guys. This is y'all's show, so y'all take it, man. We got you. You're loud and clear, so go. But Rick and Kevin and I have nothing. Go.
What do we do now? What do we do now?
This is where you interview guests.
This is simultaneously the worst and the best WeatherBrains ever.
Yeah, there's no doubt. This is the worst, and at the same time, somehow it's the best.
I believe we have Morgan Palmer standing by. Morgan Palmer, are you?
Take it, Morgan.
Hey there,
how's
you
it
hear
going?
me? Morgan
I can
Palmer.
barely hear you.
Q-Mobile unit.
It sounds like you might be in Poland. Yeah.
You know, somewhere there's a TV director thinking, man, this whole thing has gone down the tubes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy from Maggot's here. We can talk to him.
I'm not sure they can hear us.
Morgan, I can hear you. Brian is going away again.
Ask the maggot guy what he's currently tracking.
Oh boy.
We don't want to talk to
Play
Brian
the buzzer.
anyway. We want to talk to Morgan. Morgan, take it.
Hey there. Yeah, we're having a great time here. It's a little bit humid here in Norfolk, but it's been a great conference so far here at NWA. It's awfully loud in here. It's even louder downstairs as we're having the broadcasters' dinner.
They're not responding. The show has gone mute.
So here's the fun part. So Kevin has just walked away, and Rick Smith has turned his camera off. So it looks like it's going to be me filling one more hour of time here. This could be the worst WeatherBrains ever.
Show to get ready for.
What? Don't bail on me.
Well, I have to go on TV in 9 minutes.
Oh boy.
And I have to do something. No, I'm not leaving. I'm here.
You gotta wash your hair, Rick.
Got to walk the dog or something. I'm sure there's something to do. No, I mean
Morgan's giving you a complex.
All right. So now I'm seeing two Brians down here. So, Brian, I see you again. So I'm going to try it one more time. You, sir, take the floor. And the guy producer JP, the guy that edits this show, he's going to want a 5,000% raise after this show.
Absolutely. I want to tell everybody in the WeatherBrains audience that I finally got to meet Aubrey in person. So.
And he's gone again. Wow.
Brian's stealing Wi-Fi from the department store across the street.
Wow. Yeah, we don't even have enough to do an audio podcast so far. So the object of the game is to figure out one device back there that can work. And I think the way this is going to work, somebody just literally needs to get Bill's phone and turn the video off and just do an audio interview.
Does Rick know about? I've been watching some of this go by, and if we can't get much out of them, it seems like there's a lot of talk about warning situations, the number of them, and the colors, and all of that. Do you know what's being discussed, Rick, or no?
Just what I've been following along on Twitter.
Okay. I just thought if we can't get anything from them, maybe you guys, and I got to go to a show, but that seems like one of the hot topics up there, and I don't know what you knew about it.
Well, we can definitely go back and we can talk about some of that, but maybe Brian's got something there. I hear audio again.
We had a very nice presentation during the NWA this morning from Catherine. I'm sorry, what's her last name?
Sullivan. Brian.
The head of
Yes.
Sullivan. Yes, Catherine
And they're gone.
Wow, I mean, she's very. Oh, there we go.
Oh no.
Are we?
So yeah, there's no doubt this is the worst and the best WeatherBrains ever, and that so far we have nothing usable for an audio show. This is great. So Rick, me, and you, pal, we're going to wind up talking about things that we've heard about from these guys today. But again, I think the option, if one of you guys can hear me out there, what we need to do is let's give up on all video,
Oh, we
and
can
let's
hear you.
use a phone as an audio device, because Brian's computer, it comes and goes and there's no bandwidth. We get little blurts and then Brian is gone.
Okay.
So
all right, James, can you hear me?
Okay, turn the video off.
Bill, I don't know exactly how your audio is originating off that phone, but when you talk, it's okay. But when everybody else talks, we can barely hear them.
How about now, James?
That's much better. I would advise going.
I found a dark, quiet corner.
Yeah, there we go. Because I think, Bill, you're going to be the only pipe we've got out of there. And what we'll do, and for producer JP, we're going to make an edit here. We're just going to pick up the show pretty much about right now. So, Bill, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you fine, James. Thank you.
All right. So what we're going to do is just you take it, and if you got guests, you talk for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and we'll just keep you up as long as we have bandwidth.
Well, let's do this. Let's talk for a minute. Then y'all chat amongst yourselves, and I'll go get some guests, and we'll come from there.
And again, your audio is almost down to nothing. I don't.
Okay, can you hear me now?
It's pretty low. And again, I'd rather just have. And I don't know how the Hangouts works in the phone, if it's a speaker or how that works. But if the key issue is here, getting the audio.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's pretty low, but I'll take that. That's better than it's been.
Okay, well, we're here at the 41st annual NWA meeting, and it's been a huge success. You know, James, we arrived on Friday night. We kicked off WeatherFest on Saturday. We had 3,500 people, 42 exhibitors. We had, 10 speakers. We had about 100 door prizes, and we had 3,500 people show up. It was families, individuals, and we had a great time. Great kickoff at the Nautica Science Center. And we all went home and crashed Saturday night because the exhibitors really, they couldn't eat, they couldn't do anything. They were engaged with people for 7 straight hours. And it was a fantastic outreach event, and we're very, very proud of it. So we got lots of coverage on the network news, or not the network news, but the local news stations after the event was over. We had a couple of hits on the Weather Channel on Saturday morning, and it was just a blast. So we've got lots of fun. And hold on just a second. I'm going to mute. Y'all talk amongst yourself, and I'm going to deputize someone here. I'll be right back.
All right, now I'm going to unmute Brian Peters. Brian, can you hear us?
Yes, I've turned the video off, James. Hopefully we can stay with you a little bit longer. Got Aubrey on one microphone, and it got me here.
I have Aubrey.
We had a really good talk this morning, a keynote talk from Catherine Sullivan, the head of NOAA, and she's very much, with her speech, she's very much in favor of all the improvements, and there's a number of different studies going on, both internal and external to the National Weather Service, that are, I think, going
to... And we lost Brian.
Hey, Brian.
Wow.
Hey, James, let me pick that up because this is really, really important.
And again, Bill, if you can talk as loud as you can, your audio has dropped down to basically nothing.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to do one more thing here. No. Okay, can you hear me now, Brian? James.
That's a little better. Still low, but we'll take it.
Well, this part about Dr. Sullivan and NOAA and the National Weather Service is very important because, being in business, you begin to realize, you don't want the National Weather Service to go the way of the Postal Service, for example, become irrelevant. And so, these guys are really looking forward vision out into the future. And, I really was impressed with the message we heard from her today. I think they are beginning to, take this information that they're getting from McKinsey. They're taking a very open approach. The Weather Service, since its, inception, was born in the military and sort of has always had this one way top-down structure. And, you know, the point that was made this morning is that, you know, they're bringing all the stakeholders to the table. And, you know, there's lots of misinformation that's going around, you know, and different things. And, you know, it's going to take some change for the organization over the next, you know, few decades. And so, you know, from that standpoint, I'm very gratified. I'm also very encouraged by what we heard today. And I think that they're going the right direction.
So Rick Smith, what say you? I know you weren't there, but you heard some of the comments. You agree with Brian or Bill?
Yeah, I think so. I think certainly I think it's good the Weather Service is examining what we're doing and how we're doing it, making sure we're being as efficient as possible and as smart as possible with the resources. I mean, what Bill said is exactly right. I mean, we've essentially been, you know, had roots in the military for years, and our leaders have been military for the past several generations of National Weather Service directors, especially. Step back and look, and where the weather business is changing, the science is changing, our capabilities are changing, and the Weather Service is not always as fast to change as we need to be. But I think we're headed in the right direction here.
Well, I don't think that anyone realizes what a brilliant woman Dr. Sullivan is. You know, she was an astronaut. She spent 10 years, you know, managing and running a science museum. So they're really approaching change, you know, as, you know, we all are facing change in so many ways. And there's an art and a science to it. And I had to say, after the keynote, I had really, really good feelings about that. So I'm very excited about what we heard. We had a special briefing, and, you know, it dovetailed with what they said. And Dr. Uccellini was there. Of course, we get to hear him. We get to geek out with him in the morning, mainly on models and things. But, you know, I really feel like the Weather Service is, you know, making sure that they're moving toward, you know, building a culture within the organization that's changing. I had an epiphany Sunday night, you know, when we were doing the student mentoring, because, you know, you want these, you know, these kids that are coming up to be involved, to be engaged. You want them to get internships and do things like that. And, you know, this student came up and said, you know, yeah, I'm so-and-so university. And, you know, I want to be, you know, I want to be a meteorologist. And, you know, I interned at the National Weather Service XYZ this year. And I realized that, you know, that summer working at the National Weather Service made me realize I never wanted to do that. And I went, wow, you know, wait a minute. You just had a dream opportunity, and your response is you don't want to do it. And, you know, tell me why. And the response was that, you know, it was very closed. They never looked out the window, you know, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, she may have just been a one-off, but there were a lot of messages there that, you know, the young people coming up today are looking for. And so I was excited to hear Dr. Sullivan say today, you know, that they're, you know, rethinking the human resource effort, that they admitted the system was broken 15 years ago. It's never caught back up. And if they want the best and the brightest in the business, they're going to have to change. And they admitted that. So, of course, there are lots of obstacles to that. There's labor to deal with, you know, and they want everybody at the table because change involves compromise. Change involves a lot of difference. And, you know, so, I'm encouraged. So I've got Brian Newdorf here. I wish I could show you a video. He's a shadow of his former self. He's lost how much, Brian?
85 pounds.
85 pounds, James. Now, here's Brian Newdorf. You know him as the NASCAR weatherman. Hold on a second.
Hey, James.
Hey, guys, the audio is still very low. And again, I don't quite know how the Hangouts works on a phone, but if there's any way you guys can crank the audio up a little bit or just talk really loud, that would help.
Tell him I'm screaming, Brian.
Yeah, he's talking loud. I'll go into TV mode like I'm talking to a big crowd. Does that work?
There you go. Good. Projection.
Yeah, hey, it's a lot of fun here. Making a trek from Idaho out here towards the East Coast. Fortunately for me, got a chance to come out here and visit family in Virginia. So that kind of killed two birds with one stone on this trip.
Awesome. So what's been the highlights so far for you?
You know, not a lot of mountain meteorology, but again, I think what I overheard what Bill was talking about, and I was in the radar part of the segment this afternoon, and so a lot of that was really good, seeing what they're trying to do from a standpoint of trying, again, get better warnings and leeway time, and maybe and I think a lot of that from the flooding that we were watching and just that social science stuff. That's something I'm looking forward to tomorrow, and that is, again, conveying the message of urgency so that our viewers and those who are getting the items and all the necessary warnings and advisories from the Weather Service, from television, are getting it clear, understandable, so that they can make the right decisions and know what's going on. There was some video about flooding in South Carolina. One of the guys, Mets, that was there from the National, said he was watching school buses delivering kids in flooded waters. So that message, that urgency, was not getting conveyed to the proper channels, and something that's, I know you deal with, and of course I deal with on television, and getting that information out is still something that we still need to do. And I love that. That's something that we're really focusing on.
Well, let me ask you guys this, and maybe Rick Smith knows the answer. I've been watching Nate's live tweeting today, and he was tweeting the Sullivan talk early this morning. And Sullivan said in the last 4 years, and I would assume maybe she meant 5 years, but in the last 4 years, we've had 3 key learning moments toward evolving the National Weather Service. And Rick tweeted 2 of the 3 were the April 27, 2011 tornado outbreak, which affected my state. Then after that was the Joplin, Missouri tornado. But I didn't see a third event. I was going to see if anybody knows what that third key learning moment was.
It, James. I think it must have been Hurricane Sandy.
Okay. Well, there
That's
you
what
go.
I was thinking.
Okay. But it says, she said the loss of life in those outbreaks meant we needed to rethink what we're doing. Science and forecast, A+, outcome, not. And then she said better instrumentation and better modeling weren't silver bullets that would save lives alone. We need to weave social science and meteorology together, not simply slap some social science on it. And I thought this quote was interesting. Sullivan said, we've always focused on the W in NWS, being weather, but the 2011 outbreaks forced us to focus on the S, which is service. Rick Smith, how would you respond to those remarks?
Well, I don't know. I think that I don't think things were that bad in 2011 or even before 2011. I think there was certainly the service part was there, but could we do better? Absolutely. And certainly those 2 events and the events in Sandy and then our tornadoes in May of 2013 were all wake-up calls that, the science is doing pretty well. Meteorology, we're doing better with forecasting and warnings, and warning lead times have increased to some extent. But it's that other side, it's that people side. And there's a lot about the other side of the warnings, what goes on the other side of the TV screen, the other side of the weather radio and the warnings, what people are doing with that information, how they're understanding and interpreting it. And, we've just been kind of rolling along, patching our warnings, patching the 1960s warnings we've had forever, tacking on something here or changing the order or something here with not a lot of substantive changes. So it is a good time it's past time probably to step back and look at what we're doing from a real service perspective.
So
like the key word
comment on this, Rick, for
evolving
a second,
the National Weather Service. Go ahead, Bill.
I'm sorry. I wanted to ask Rick, there's been a reduction in lead time in the last 3 years, according to one of the presentations. Is that just because we were basically shooting fish in a barrel from 11 to 13 with the big events, and these smaller events are harder to do? What do you think about that, Rick?
It's hard to say. There's so much that goes into that. And I know Harold Brooks and Jimmy Correa have got a presentation they're working on for the Severe Storms Conference coming up, not to plug another conference, but I think it's going to be a pretty eye-opening presentation. I know they're looking at some of that, what is happening to the lead time. It certainly depends on what types of storms you get. If you get a bunch of, weaker tornadoes, QLCS tornadoes, that tends to hurt the lead time in some cases. It's a complex thing, that relationship between the lead time and the probability of detection, the false alarm. But that has been noted that it has gone down in the past couple of years.
Well, I'll ask Brian Newdorf. Brian, what was your favorite presentation of the day and your best takeaway?
I really liked watching some of the stuff. They had the South Carolina flooding, and again, talking about the floods. Now, obviously in Idaho, I don't get a lot of floods, One of the things that brought up to me that I found, and this has been a sticking point for me, about 2 years ago, we had about 5 inches of rain in about a 24-hour period. We got 6 inches later on. It caused what they termed 100-year flood. That is something that just kind of makes my skin crawl, because that flooding for us in Twin Falls was more infrastructure, not necessarily river and streams, but upbuilding of urban areas, so water doesn't have a place to go, and water will find a place to go. It just may not be where you want it to go. And so, it's a 100-year flood, but the Snake River, the canyon is about 400 feet. That didn't overflow, so it was a matter of just where was the water going to go. So to get back on point, I took away, I was listening, it's interesting with questions, but again, there's so many flood products, from flash flood to aerial flood warning to flood watch to just flood warning. So the talk about, getting that more simplified really intrigued me. And that was something that I thought, because we talk about all severe weather, we talk about thunderstorms and tornadoes, and it was nice to see flooding itself getting a good amount of attention. So that was something that I took away with and was really interested in.
So James, do you know the difference between an aerial flood warning and a flash flood warning?
I have no idea.
Isn't the aerial flood warning?
Agrees with you. So Rick, explain the difference.
I think the aerial flood warning is when the flooding is in the air. Is that right? Or
bingo, we have a winner.
That's a different aerial, I think. Yeah, if there's talk about hazard simplification and simplifying some of the products. What a big step it would be if we could just eliminate the word aerial. Who in the world knows what that is? I mean, it means just covering an area.
Exactly what the National Weather Service in Columbia is doing.
Yeah.
They're basically taking that out of the tier. They might use it for a long-term extended flood situation, but they are removing it. When flooding is serious enough to cause life-threatening situations, they're going to a flash flood warning, but otherwise they're going to use aerial flood advisory. So that's one of the 122 advisories that maybe will start to go the way of the emu. Bulletin, breaking news, James. I need the breaking news alert.
Well, if you need the breaking news alert, then we got it.
We interrupt this program for a CBS Radio Net Alert Bulletin.
So James, we have the beautiful Betsy Kling here from Cleveland.
Nice.
I think that
she's got more energy than everybody else combined at that thing.
Well, I'm trying to keep up that energy at this point. We're like a little late on getting food this evening, so everybody's kind of like, oh. But believe me, we're gonna be having a good time.
Yeah, well, Betsy's she's getting ready for all her big events on Wednesday. Of course, she's got lots of prizes. We're all gonna buy raffle tickets, and we're gonna have a big forecasting challenge. So I think we should have roped James into the forecasting challenge, Betsy.
I think we should too. I think he's gonna have to phone it in though.
Yeah. Do you have $5, James?
$5. I've always got $5 for you, Bill and Betsy. No problem.
I'll spot you for it. You can give it to me on Tuesday. So tell him what he has to forecast. Betsy.
I actually have the contest sheet right here in my purse. Hold on, let me get it out.
Sunny and 75. Rick, what do you say?
Cut it, unfortunately, there, James.
I was going to say 76, but
okay.
Sunny and 76. There you go.
So let's see. Make your prediction of what the following meteorological values will be at 12Z on Wednesday, September 14th. We need the temperature at KORF. It's here in Norfolk. We need the dew point at KOFK. That's also here in Norfolk.
That's in Nebraska.
And then, I'm sorry, that is in Nebraska. That's Norfolk, Nebraska. The other one. Let's see, we need sea level pressure at Norfolk Island, Australia, which is YSNF. We need precipitable water at North Platte, Nebraska. That's KLBF. And the 500 millibar height at Cape Town, South Africa, which is FACT. And then also there's a bonus. And the bonus is the ceiling height for North Island NAS, California, which is KNZY. And the bonus, you get 25 points extra for the correct ceiling forecast, but you can also get 25 points minus per 100 foot of departure from the observed value.
You got all that down, James Spann?
Rick, why? I have a funny feeling our answer is not going to win this contest.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I think everybody's just kind of throwing numbers out at this point.
There might be a 76 in there somewhere.
Make us look bad.
Yeah. So what do you win?
A Davis Vantage View weather station.
Wow.
Wow. Those are
Yeah,
nice.
it's really nice.
So one of the most fun things on Saturday was we gave away a Bloom Sky, the real pretty, really cool weather station, because the local, science museum that we were at didn't want it. So we gave it away, and the family that won it, the kid was in the 6th grade, and he loved weather, and he was just beside himself. And so the family just had such a good time.
Awesome.
I think we've lost.
This is the hot corner back here. There's a lot of people coming back just to peek in and see what's going on.
So, Bill, can I ask you a question? I've done a couple of these the past couple of years, and this is a little bit different setting, right? I mean, you guys are at the broadcasters dinner, where I remember when we were in Salt Lake, we were at the Icebreaker. I mean, it was more of everybody was there. This is a little bit more limited. Or who's at the broadcasters dinner? Can anybody come?
Yeah. What we had today, Rick, basically at 5 o'clock, the Weather Service did a workforce, assessment discussion, mostly with Weather Service people, but there were a few just NWA people there. Then we went straight into the Icebreaker at 5:30, and 7 o'clock we came over here. So this is earlier, you're right. And so really, I think we're supposed to be going to karaoke about right now.
We are, yes.
So Betsy, can we talk about karaoke, or are we sworn to secrecy?
Well, somewhat sworn to secrecy. It is a little bit of a secret society, but people know about the secret society. So it's a lot of fun. We have a great time. We actually have some incredibly good singers in our group, as you can well imagine. And it's all because we are so shy that all of this really pulls off nicely. So
yeah, I think Dave Freeman figures he's made it almost to the end of his presidency. So he's letting his hair downstairs tonight. So if it doesn't end up on YouTube, or we don't have to use Aubrey's bail money, we'll be in good shape.
It's not allowed to end up on YouTube. That's the whole thing. Hopefully you will never see any scenes from karaoke. That's the goal.
Well, speaking of what goes on in Las Vegas, stays in Las Vegas, here's Todd Laricos, the MIC from Las Vegas. Welcome to the show, Todd.
Yeah, thanks again for having me.
And talk really loud, because James is mad if we don't talk really loud.
All right, I'll talk really loudly. Just like we'll at karaoke a little later.
So your favorite impression, favorite takeaway from today, Todd?
Oh boy, favorite takeaway from today. I got to say the interaction and the discussions in the hallway. It's been fantastic. Just meeting with everybody and just seeing everybody, broadcasters and government, and private, all coming together. That's really what these conferences are all about.
So we'll be coming to your neck of the woods, or at least your side of the country this year, and you're the program co-chair for this year with Miles Musio. So talk about the conference in Anaheim next year, Todd.
Yeah, Miles and I are planning, I think, what's going to be an excellent conference. We're really talking about bringing it up a notch next year, maybe even bringing in some personalities and things like that to make it a little bit more fun.
Jay Leno.
Maybe Jay Leno, we'll see. Maybe. But that should be fun. So Miles and I think we're going to plan a really good conference. I hope to see everybody out in Anaheim. I think it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, we're going to be in the shadow of Disneyland, James. You'll have to come and see Mickey Mouse. Isn't it about time for you to recertify yet?
No, I like it. I like the Matterhorn bobsleds, whatever those things are. I love Disneyland. It's a great place.
Well, maybe that's where we can have the afternoon mixer the first night is right there. What do you think?
I like it. I like it a lot.
Well, Dr. John Scala is back with us, James, again. So what was your favorite takeaway today, Dr. John?
Oh, my favorite. Well, I was impressed by Catherine Sullivan's presentation this morning, but I've also heard the reaction of, okay, I've heard this before. When are we really going to see this happen?
Well, the thing is, people want to plan. They want to plan now. Weather Service people are scared. We hear that, talking. They don't want, to lose their jobs. They don't want to lose their offices. Right. And we did hear one takeaway that I think was important, and several sessions, and that is that no offices will close.
Right.
That doesn't mean there won't be change, but their offices won't close.
But how many offices are now forced to work with less than the total number of manpower that they should have in place? Everybody's dealing with a manpower shortage. So when is the Weather Service going to step up and bring the people in here to do the job that's supposed to be done?
Well, and they did commit that, the HR problems, started 15 years ago when that system was supposed to have been reorganized, and it's a broken system. She admitted that.
She admitted that, yeah. And she also admitted that changes need to be made in HR, and they are in the process of being made. But right now, decisions have to be made on the forecast shift, and they don't have the manpower to do it.
Well,
Yeah, I think
can't
the
tell you how
HR
many times, and Todd can probably speak to this, and I know Rick can, you know, that we've got MICs that are having to go back and work shifts so their people can come to this.
MICs and SUs are working midnight shifts. I can't believe that's part of the plan. That's not right.
So now, Todd, we heard a lot today about shift work, and that seems to be a focus of some of the McKinsey report. How could shift work change?
Well, shift work is a necessity. I mean, it's always going to happen. You know, weather happens 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We've got to be able to respond to that. But I think what we really need to take a look at is how we can do that more efficiently when there isn't weather going on, and as a routine matter, make the quality of life of our workforce a little bit better. But John, as John alluded to, I mean, we have to fix workforce management and get these positions filled. We're working on that. New contractors taking over, and we're really hopeful for fiscal 17 that these things are going to kind of get taken care of, and that we can get people in the seat. And then we can start having longer-term discussions about how we improve the quality of work or quality of life for our workforce, you know, with respect to shift work. And I think there's a few things that we could do, you know, in the short term that can really help with that. So we'll see how
it sounds like it's going to become a reality. And I mean, I'm in the hotel business, and you have to run a night audit every night from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. It's a reality. Right. And so in those situations, you have to find a special person that doesn't mind that. It seems to me like the rotation is a large part of the problem. Rick, comment on, you know, having to work, you know, a midnight and then come back to a, you know, an 8 to 4. It seems to disrupt people's lives very severely.
It's disruptive to your life even when you're fully staffed. When an office is fully staffed and you're in a routine rotation, where in our office, for example, our forecasters work 7 midnight shifts in a row, and then they have a long weekend off, and then they come back on day shifts, and then it rotates around. The problem is when you're short staffed, then that routine, somewhat of a routine rotation, gets disrupted. So then you're forced to do these quick turnarounds sometime. And well, I got 2 days and then 1 day off, then I have to work 2 4 to midnights and then 2 days off. And it's that kind of thing. And that's hard on anybody, whether you got a family, whether you're single. It's hard on your sleep. It's hard on your body. But the agency, I think, for the first time that I ever remember, seems to be seriously looking at that, and they're seriously looking for ways to mitigate that. None of this is going to be fixed. None of this is going to be better until they fix the HR issues, and I believe they're seriously committed to doing that. I believe Catherine Sullivan and Louis Uccellini and everybody else involved, that they say that they know it's broken, and I think they're doing what they can to fix it. But none of this is going to work until that happens. But shift work is rough. Even when it's all working right, it's rough.
Well, I really was personally, and I know Todd and Rick can't really speak to it, but looking from a business standpoint, I was impressed with Dr. Sullivan's approach. I think culture is something that is really pretty good in the Weather Service. It seems like the external factors are what are detrimental. So if we can take that, leverage it, capitalize on it, you know, everybody right now is about, you know, the kids that we're hiring today, you know, unfortunately, they need a work-life balance to some degree. And while that's not totally possible, there are ways to improve it.
Absolutely. I was very impressed with Dr. Sullivan's comments regarding the life that forecasters are dealing with right now. The stress that lives are put through to complete the task ahead of them. She recognizes. That's a tremendous advance in my mind. And also, she commented on the dedication of the workforce. Regardless of the numbers and regardless of the shifts that are worked, she recognized the dedication that's there. And all of us appreciate that.
I've got a couple of new special guests that have walked up here. Cheryl Nelson from WTKR in Norfolk. She was our MC at WeatherFest. Cheryl, come tell us about the move to a talk show. You have a talk show called Coast Live now.
I do. Oh, talk really loud. Okay, so Coast Live is actually a lifestyle and talk show, and the fabulous Bill Murray was one of our guests on there talking about WeatherFest the other day. And basically we talk about different things going on in the Norfolk, Virginia and coastal Virginia area. And a lot of it involves weather, of course, because I'm a meteorologist as well. And it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it.
Well, so this show's brand new. It's a week old, right, Cheryl?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Your news director was on a panel yesterday at the Broadcasters Conference. Were you there for that?
So I was not there for that. I was there last night for a different panel. But yes, our general manager, actually, Skip Ballet, was there. And he said it was funny because he told me today, he goes, getting up on a Sunday morning, I didn't know what to expect. But he goes, it was actually a lot of fun. And the people there were really nice. And he really enjoyed talking with them. And they were all saying, hey, Skip, can you give me a job? Because they all really liked him. He's a great general manager.
I thought it was very interesting, Cheryl, that the news director or general manager at Wavy, which was, I don't remember which was there, and your general manager both stressed weather as being the most important part of the newscast.
Yeah, I talked with Skip about that today, actually, and Skip was, there's Nick Walker. Skip was definitely saying that, and he goes, look, whenever there is anything going on in the weather, we're going to lead with weather, because weather is what people tune in for most of the time, and that's what's most important.
Well, I thought it was very interesting, and the consultant from Magid was very interesting also, some of the things he had to say. And I know we've sort of been, a little critical of them from time to time, but, this guy really was also stressing the importance of weather and saying a lot of the things that you say, James, on a week-to-week basis on the show.
The question is, were you tracking the Frank Magid guy?
Several people tried to get us to say that to him, but no one was brave enough.
So yes, that's why you need me there. I don't care. I'd say it.
Well, that goes without saying, James. We need you here every year. But anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll have to get that on your schedule. Hey, James, somebody else that you know and love is here. A famous face from meteorology, Bob Ryan.
Hello, James.
Bob is the legend of legends.
Where are you?
He won't come for pecan pie. He'll only come for barbecue.
Barbecue. Well, I had the barbecue.
Okay.
We had the short ribs, and they were delicious. So the next time you're in Norfolk, you've got to come down and have the short ribs, and then maybe finish it with a pecan pie.
I think still, Rick, I think it's cool. This is Bob Ryan. When I was like a little younger, I used to watch Bob on the Today Show. He was like the first guy that really knew what he was talking about in terms of weather. I mean, see, but Bob was one of the ones that warped me and got me in this business.
What I'm talking about.
So you're sitting in a window with Bill Murray in a juke joint in Norfolk now. So he's really fallen a long way there.
Yeah, his career's gone right down the tubes being on this show.
I got to get Bob a tour of our office.
There was nothing going on.
So Bob, there was a presentation today on the South Carolina flooding, and you took issue with the use of the word 100-year, 500-year flood. Talk about that for a moment.
Well, I think it miscommunicates then the risk going forward. And we can, especially where we're changing land surfaces. I have family in Houston, and I've been down to Houston 2 years in a row when there were 1 in 100-year floods, 11 inches of rain in 11 hours. So if you say, oh, that's only going to happen once in 100 years, then a lot of folks say, oh, good, I'm fine for 99 years, or once in 50 years, once in 40 years. I know I'm not. Well, maybe I'll live for 40 years and with James, but those things miscommunicate the risk, I think, going forward.
So James, have you ever had an issue with statements like that?
No, I agree with Bob. I think if you say that, people are going to tend not to take action. I think that's entirely a problem. I'm just not so sure what good it does.
It reduces the sense of, boy, this is something that is exceptional, which it is, but then it diminishes the idea that will happen again in the future, in the near future even, too.
So Bob, what was your best takeaway from today?
Best takeaway?
Yeah. Did you have a presentation that spoke to you, or that you thought was especially
what
good?
I thought was best was the integration of the operational forecasters with the communicators and the broadcasters, all trying to head in the same direction. That is, how do we best communicate, as James has done so effectively over the years, to help people make the best decision, whether tomorrow is sunny or tomorrow is life-threatening weather. I think we're all in the same boat and heading toward the same direction. And the more we can get the operational people from the Weather Service and from NOAA together with broadcasters and communicators and reach the same conclusion and reach the same goal, better for everybody.
Absolutely. Anything you want to add to that, James Spann?
I think Bob needs to unretire and get back to work.
Don't call me James at 2 a.m. when you get up for those next patch of severe weather in Alabama.
Yeah, no, Bob, again, Bob's a very humble guy, but he no telling how many people he really got interested in weather during his days at the Today Show. And of course, he went back into local television in Washington, but goodness, his long career in Washington, he is beloved. I mean, I've never heard one guy say a bad word about Bob Ryan. So you sir, are quite the legend.
Thank you, James. Even though all the forecasts I busted, but I think, we were talking, one thing we were talking about was the importance and the continuing relevance of local forecasters, local meteorologists, local broadcasters such as yourself, who know the community and that people trust and turn to in times of violent weather, times of life-threatening weather. And it really does make a difference. And you, of course, have made a difference to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people in your career there. And it's really been a great public service and what we're all trying to do.
Yep, we're all on the same page trying to get the same work done, and I'm very confident, optimistic about the future.
Well, don't send too many tweets, though. Get some sleep, too.
Yeah, I'll take a nap sometime.
So now, tell me this, Bob. Was Joe Whitty on the Today Show also at some point?
Yes, indeed. Yeah, Joe was on today. Al, I have a picture of myself with Al Roker and Willard Scott, the three of us together. And Joe was doing weekends today and then did CNBC and MSNBC for a time. And now, as you know, Joe is very, very involved in education. And that's what, we all have done. There was a clothing guy in the Mid-Atlantic, and I don't know if he was down south, Cy Sims. And his motto was, an educated consumer is our best customer. And that applies to weather as well as it does to clothing. An educated consumer. And so, indeed, the better we can have people understand what we do and why we do it, and then they will be participating in the decision-making process. An educated customer is our educated consumer is our best customer.
Amen, brother. Bob Ryan, thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
Awesome. So we took Bob away from his dinner there, but he's got an adult beverage now, and he's ready to go. Brian Carrick. Brian, come join me. James, our volunteers were the backbone of WeatherFest on Saturday, really Friday night and Saturday. And one of my most valuable volunteers was Brian Carrick from Orlando. Brian joins us now. Brian, what was your impression of WeatherFest?
Bill, I tell you, well, for starters, for what you put together, amazing, just the crowds, the people that were coming in and out of there were having fun. The kids had smiles on their faces. And I think that was probably the biggest takeaway, was just seeing the kids. They came to learn more about weather, and they were walking around, they were getting their stamps, they were listening to people like John Scala, who had his WeatherBrains hat on. It was the best thing ever. And to see those kids smile. And when they left, excited. And that's what we want. We want excited kids learning about weather. And someday we hope that, as we were when we were kids, we grow up to do what we really love to do, and that's weather. And that's, I think, honestly, that's the takeaway I got. It is the kids, and they looked like they had so much fun.
So now you've had 2 days of NWA under your belt here, presentations right and left. Of course, that's one of my favorite parts. Best takeaway from yesterday or today, what would you say as you peruse the memory banks there for a second?
Well, just the fact that as broadcasters, we are communicating, and we're trying to communicate by utilizing every tool. We're trying to communicate with the various other private sectors. We're trying to communicate with the Weather Service, and as we communicate, that's what gets the word out. And people, they're starting to understand. And with so many extreme weather events going on, it's now's the time that people need to listen to people who are communicating, and they're on the same page. And I think that here is we're all, as broadcasters and everybody else in the weather industry, talking and learning. Communication is the key, and that's what we're taking away from this one.
So any other things you're looking forward to, especially this week, Brian?
Karaoke tonight?
Other than the obvious.
No, there are still so many excellent presentations. And I'm sad I have to leave Thursday, and there are some phenomenal presentations Thursday. I'm sad I'm going to miss that. But over the next few days, every day, there's going to be some excellent presentations, poster sessions. walking by the poster presentations that people put together, and learning just anything that we can soak up. And that's what I'm trying to do.
Well, November 4th is the big day. We're all waiting for the GOES-R to launch. This pipeline of information that'll come our way. So we did hear reassuring news that SpaceX is not launching our rocket. Sorry about that. But Tony Rice did say, you know, you do it until it stops not working, and then you follow that design. So the Atlas V rocket will carry our GOES-R satellite into space. So we all have our fingers crossed that November 4th. James, we put you down to get to go to the launch site. Can you go?
Maybe. When is it?
November the 4th.
Friday, November 4th.
That's ratings. You know that.
Yeah.
I'll go. I'll take your
Cheryl
place.
Nelson says she'll be there. So anyway, that's going to be huge. We have a huge event tomorrow night, an interactive learning experience. Brian, are you going to get to go to that?
I hope so. I guess I need to learn a little bit more about it, but yes, I'm hoping that, well, in any way I can be involved with the organization and with our fellow colleagues. That's going to be an excellent opportunity.
So Todd, I know that, you know, thank you, Brian. You know, Dr. Sullivan talked today in the modernization. Weather Service offices were located next to, you know, the new radars because of the bandwidth issues. What's happening with bandwidth and Weather Service offices, you know, that are improving the ability for us to get the data that we need from GOES-R and other things to get into the models and into the offices so you guys can use it?
Yeah, I think what Dr. Sullivan really admitted today and said to the NWA at large is that we're modernizing our bandwidth to get up to speed with all the increase in data that we've seen over the last 10 to 15 years coming at us, and we have to be able to manage that data and get that data into the local offices. And she also said, that offices no longer need to be tied directly to radar locations, which is absolutely true. In the past, offices were placed next to radars because of bandwidth limitations in the past, and that no longer needs to be the case. And we may want to look for targets of opportunity in the Weather Service and co-locate our offices with emergency management offices or universities or other entities where we can collaborate.
So that's really good news. Now, there's another IT thing going on this week. I've got Grant Totzerud from the National Weather Association. James, I've only got about 10% battery left, so we're going to lose, our contact here, and then you can, end the show from our end at least. But Grant, you were instrumental in the new website. Talk about that process.
That's right. We spent about the past 15 months or so working on this new National Weather Association website, and it definitely hasn't been an easy process. If any of you have been to our old website, it's a pretty archaic platform. It's a lot of blocky pictures and blocky links. But this new one is swift and smooth, and it's definitely in a beta form right now. But we have a lot of developments coming up. We're rolling out new ones every week, hopefully, especially after the annual meeting. We'll be able to devote more and more time to every page, and everything will get a little bit more snazzy up. And committees will also be able to put their own little spin on each page. So it's a lot of new, exciting, and interesting stuff that'll be coming up soon on the new webpage. So
I think the most exciting thing in the last several years is the move to Norman and Janice becoming the executive director, and the wonderful staff, Haley and Hulda and Grant, who's the student intern, but you seem like you've been here forever, Grant. So thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
Outstanding. I'll see who else we found. I need Scott Martin for a second before my battery goes dead. Scott Martin, of course, works with us at Alabama WX. And Scott, we've been lucky to find you. I gave you a concept 4 or 5 weeks ago of a passport, and this became our redemption piece at WeatherFest. And you had a secret skill that none of us knew about, and that was graphic arts. Talk about what getting to do that and getting to come to NWA has meant to you.
Well, first of all, it was, a great honor to be asked on the staff with you and James at the Weather Factory. And it's been a complete thrill to be up here at the conference. This is my first one to come to, and it was a joy to be able to design the stuff for the Weather Fest and the signage and everything. It was really fun.
So Scott, you have to go home tomorrow, but what's your best takeaway from the student sessions yesterday, the master class, and the events you went to today?
Yes, my car survived. Probably the the biggest takeaway from this will be the speed mentoring, learning what to do from so many people who have been in the field for years now, and then being able to learn just tips and tricks from everybody, and also being able to network has been a huge part for me.
Well, it's been so fun to be here with Brian and Aubrey and getting Dr. John back into the mix and Nate. And of course, I've had Elle here with us this week too, because she was such an instrumental part of WeatherFest. Honey, is there anything you want to say back to Birmingham before the power goes out?
I can't wait till next year at Anaheim. It's going to be a great year. And this really is like a big family reunion for anybody who's in the meteorology field. It's really amazing to connect with these very intelligent, talented individuals.
So James, they have all adopted your analogy that this is a family reunion. I heard it several times from the stage today.
Yep, it is. Well, thanks, Bill. Great work out there. We appreciate it. You now go have karaoke. Go have fun.
We'll talk to you next week.
All right. So, Kev, what's on your mind? We got 2 minutes before I got to roll the recorded segments here.
Well, did they talk about the colors at all? You know, I had this 9 o'clock show that I had to do, but the color thing is pretty fascinating to me. Maybe just because we recently went through what you did, I guess, a while back, because you sent me those colors. But the 3 chiefs in this market sat down and had lunch and said, yeah, we all need to get on the same page on a couple of things. But there are an awful lot of colors. So did they mention that? I know that's come up at the meeting.
They did not, but Rick, you might comment on that.
I think they're going to talk about that more tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. I think the agenda tomorrow, well, it may be tomorrow or Wednesday, I'm not sure. But one day this week, they're going to talk about the hazard simplification and the colors.
Yeah.
It's out of control, even just within the Weather Service itself, not even talking about outside.
Yeah, it's out of control in television. It's out of control within the Weather Service, maps and colors, just all kind of confusing. And again, as I've said before, this is not hard. It's like first graders choosing the same crayon. You know, I mean, we can do this. It's not that hard. And if we can start with something simple, then we can tackle the hard stuff, because there is some hard stuff we have to address here. So yeah, that's an issue.
Rick, what's the current buzz about? Because I haven't heard much about it lately, but those Twitter accounts where everything is all tornado and severe thunderstorm warnings are going out red. There was a lot of angst about that.
Yeah, and that's one of the, I think that's looking forward to one of the possible outcomes of this hazard simplification. There's different schemes of colors that fall along hazards, which is where we are now. So you have red, tomato red tornado warnings and brick red something else warnings, or green flash flood warnings, and that they've modeled these Twitter accounts after is colors based on the product type, or instead of the hazard as it is now, it's based on warning. So every warning is red and every watch is yellow. And I'm hearing mixed signals about that. Some people say, well, to some people that doesn't really matter, to the average person, that's not as ingrained in them as it is in us. But to the Weather Service people and lots of other people that are used to it, it's like, wait, why is a flash flood warning the same color as a tornado warning?
Yeah. I would imagine.
I don't know where that's going to end up.
Yeah, that's a huge rock to move. But I have to imagine that even once you decide something, the verification or the path to say, okay, this was a success or not, is almost as difficult.
Yeah, I don't know how you ever do that.
Right. You can't measure it.
You can't measure it, and we're never going to be able to come up with a system that satisfies everybody.
Right.
From the most common average person user to the most advanced. And that's one of the biggest issues, is just we have to talk to everybody in one language, and you can't really do that.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take a break here. We will have Professor Peters and Tony Rice. We'll come back and do a weather roundup. Of course, no email tonight because Aubrey's out with the karaoke gang. But we got picks of the week and much more as WeatherBrains rolls along.
Hi, I'm Carol Fowler, a former news director and founder of the Soch Reports. As a lifelong media professional, I know how important your online presence is. It can be the key to a new job, a better salary, promotion, and other contract terms. That's why I created the Social Reports, to take the guesswork out of social media. We do that with data. You see, I believe social media isn't an art, it's a science. We exist to give you the insights and intelligence to stay ahead of the competition. If you've struggled to grow social media fans, or maybe your company is pressuring you to get more page likes, if you've watched your competitors or peers get levels of engagement that make you scratch your head, or maybe you're just hoping to get more followers, here's what I recommend. Go to our website, thesocialreports.com, and sign up. We offer a free trial for 2 weeks, no credit card required, that will show you a sample of what I'm talking about. Or if you subscribe now to one of our 3 plans, you'll get a month for free, with the option to cancel the Social Reports at any time you don't feel it's helping. We're that sure you'll love it. So go to thesocialreports.com, that's THESOCREPORTS.com, and if you're at the NWA conference, please stop by and say hello. We look forward to working with you.
WeatherBrains 101 with Professor Peters.
We started the topic of air pressure last week, so here's round 2. The 2 most common units in the United States to measure pressure are inches of mercury and millibars. Inches of mercury refers to the height of a column of mercury measured in hundredths of inches. This is what you hear from the NOAA Weather Radio or from your favorite weather or news source. At sea level, the standard air pressure is 29.92 inches of mercury. Millibars is another common unit used, and it comes from the original term for pressure, bar. Bar is from the Greek baros, meaning weight. A millibar is 1/1000th of a bar and is approximately equal to 1,000 dynes. 1 dyne is the amount of force it takes to accelerate an object with a mass of 1 gram at the rate of 1 centimeter per second squared. Millibar values used in meteorology range from about 100 to 1,050. At sea level, standard air pressure in millibars is 1013.2. Weather maps showing the pressure at the surface are typically drawn using millibars. Although the changes are usually too slow to observe directly, air pressure is almost always changing. This change in air pressure is caused by changes in air density, and air density is related to temperature. Warm air is less dense than cooler air because the gas molecules in warm air have a greater velocity and are farther apart than in cooler air. So while the average altitude of the 500 millibar level is around 18,000 feet, the actual elevation will be higher in warm air than in cold air. The most basic change in pressure is the twice daily rise and fall of air pressure due to the heating from the sun. Each day around 4 a.m. and 4 p.m., the pressure is at its lowest and near its peak around 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. The magnitude of the daily cycle is greatest near the equator and decreases as you move toward the poles. On top of the daily fluctuations are the larger pressure changes as a result of the migrating weather systems. These weather systems are identified by those blue H's and red L's you see on weather maps. Next week, we'll talk about what a rising or falling barometer may mean to the weather in your locale. If you have a question about the weather, drop a note to question@weatherbrains.com.
Looking beyond the atmosphere, here's Tony Rice with your Astronomy Outlook.
SpaceX had a rough week last week. While filling the rocket with liquid oxygen and RP-1, during the final end-to-end test of the rocket and its systems at the pad, an explosion occurred. This damaged Space Launch Complex 40, or Slick 40, destroyed the launch vehicle and the Israeli-built Amos-6 communication satellite. Now, there's not a whole lot of answers at this point. SpaceX's Elon Musk recently tweeted that it was turning out to be the most difficult and complex failure that they've ever seen in their 14 years. They're going to have plenty of help, though, from the FAA, NASA, and the Air Force. That help began moments after the accident, as Lieutenant Colonel Greg Lindsay shared in the Air Force 45th Space Wing's website. The Cape Canaveral Air Force Station Emergency Operations Center was activated within moments of the explosion. Now, the blast area was already clear of personnel. This is per plan whenever fueling is going on. This allowed the incident management team to respond to the burning pad. But their first concern wasn't Slick 40 itself, but with the systems that are shared by nearby Slick 41. That's where United Launch Alliance's Atlas V was being prepped for launch, with NASA's asteroid-bound OSIRIS-REx mission. First area of concern was the water deluge system. Now that's what dumps 1 million+ gallons of water on the pad at launch time. It may appear that that's there to shield the pad from the fiery launch, but it's actually there to absorb sound. If not for that water, sound would be reflected back, possibly destroying the rocket. Immediate problem that morning was that the system was damaged, and it was in danger of running dry, burning up critical pumps. Once that was solved, the next the team had to deal with was in the loss of chillers. This put the OSIRIS-REx spacecraft itself in danger. Now, they'd lost one spacecraft that day. They were not about to lose another, especially a one-of-a-kind planetary science mission. With these shared infrastructure problems solved, the team could then turn their attention to the pad itself. Now, they got some help from NASA's unmanned aircraft system. It was put in the air and provided live imagery of the pad itself, giving key information about the state of the pad and how to best get in there. Robots continued that dirty work as they were sent in to handle the most hazardous steps, including turning valves near the pad. In the end, a launch vehicle and satellite were lost. A launch pad was damaged, but further losses were prevented through teams of fire, security, ordnance disposal, pad safety, and the emergency management teams. And they did all of this during a series of lightning and tornado watches ahead of Tropical Storm Hermine. The best part is, and I can't put it any better than Lieutenant Colonel Lindsay said, everyone went home safe to their families that night and woke up the next morning ready to do it all over again. That's your Astronomy Outlook. Follow me at RTP Hokie for more spacey stuff like this.
When the weather ball is red, warmer weather is ahead. When the weather ball is white, colder weather is in sight. When the weather ball is green, no change in the weather is foreseen. When colors blink, by night or day, precipitation's on the way.
Time now for the weather roundup. By the way, I've been doing this on the new Mac OS Sierra tonight. The Gold Master is out, and so far, so good. I've been testing this on another computer, found no audio issues, tried it, and it's working. So there we go.
That's dangerous.
It is dangerous. I'm living on the edge. But after this show, the whole thing's been on the edge. So, Kevin, you got some rain out there, huh? Your rain has been good this year. Oh, Kevin. Oh, Kevin. And he just went away, Rick. Wow.
Maybe he'll be back. Yeah, it has been pleasantly unusually wet summer for parts of the area. I mean, there's parts of Oklahoma and Texas that are still in a drought, but Wichita Falls, I think Kevin's area got some really good rain over the past few days, even more than we got up here. And, it looks like the pattern that we're getting into this week looks like more rain. So it's welcome.
There you go. And, of course, we have a new tropical storm here on the 12th of September by the name of Ian in the Atlantic Basin that will not be threatening any landmass. And the big super typhoon I saw, what is this, Maranti? How do you say that, Kevin? You're a super typhoon
I think
guy.
I think you probably got it.
160 knots.
Wow.
Strongest typhoon in the Northwest Pacific since Haiyan in 2013. So
wow.
Very active there. And I do believe it's getting kind of chilly in the northwestern states. Saw some mountain snow in parts of Montana. Saw a lot of snow pictures from Yellowstone National Park today. So that's a sign of the times.
I have breaking news before it gets too late.
Well, let's just break away here.
We interrupt this program for a CBS Radio Net Alert Bulletin.
All right, we have to be careful here because this has just come to me, and I don't have a ton of context, but it deals with our friend Mike Smith. And if this is as it appears, which it may not be, I think he has taken leave of his senses. I think he's gone over the edge somewhere. But somebody sent me a tweet from Dakota Smith. She is at WeatherDAK. And she jokes with us in the text. She says, I'm pretty sure Mike thinks at NWS Podunk is a real Weather Service forecast office. And of course, that's a satire,
account.
Twitter account. But the screenshot is from a conversation between her and Mike from Facebook. And it's out there on her Twitter account, so I don't think this is private. But Mike Smith says the National Weather Service should not issue warnings for red rocks or any other specific location. That is the role of the private sector in meteorology. Dakota replied, I never suggested that, but decision support services for specific events by the National Weather Service has proven successful in the past, i.e. Lollapalooza. If it saves lives, why does it matter where the information is coming from? And Mike replied to her, because the National Weather Service does not have the resources nor the knowledge to do this. That is why it matters. The private sector does.
I think we ought to get Mike on the show. What do you say, Kevin?
Well, I'm kind of stunned. That's why I say I guess yes, I would love that, but because we need some context here. I mean, at face value, he's taken leave of his senses and just insulted the entire National Weather Service. But he's done that before, so why should that be a surprise? So I don't know, Rick. You probably don't want to comment on this.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear a word you said.
Yeah.
Well, if he's got the cojones to come back on, he's more than welcome. But it's troubling, I think.
All right, we'll see if we can get our guest booking officer to bring Mike back on the show to tell his side of the story. But real quick here, we've got to do the picks of the week. So let's go to Rick. Rick, what you got for us?
Well, my real simple pick of the week is September is National Preparedness Month, so ready.gov has a great website of preparedness tips for National Preparedness Month. I do want to throw in one quick thing. Last year, the AMS, there was a group of people who could not go to the AMS, and they formed a group called the AMS Orphans. Well, they've done the same thing with the NWA Orphans. So if you look for the NWAS 16 Orphans hashtag coming up later this week, especially on Wednesday, I know we're going to have kind of a mini conference on Twitter for the people who were left out and could not go and enjoy the karaoke fun this evening.
Yeah, and I'm going to make my pick Nate Johnson's Twitter feed. If you want the best live tweeter in the universe,
yes,
go to his Twitter feed, NSJ, @NSJ, and it's just like you're there. So that's my pick of the week. Kev, what you got for us?
Mine's pretty easy because I don't have one. No, you know what I'll do? I'll retweet this Mike Smith thing, and if people want to go to my Twitter feed, they can do that. It's Kevin Selly. So there.
All right, so good deal. And again, I've not even checked to see if I'm the lead story, but we might have substance. We might have something. Who knows? So I got to get ready for television here. But again, thanks for bearing with us through the technical difficulties. But we finally got Bill on with a lot of great guests from the National Weather Association annual meeting in Virginia. So thanks a lot to Bill and the whole crew. Glad they're out there having a good time. If you are in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and if you're working with emergency management, broadcast meteorology, or the National Weather Service, I will see you in coming days. You want to get in touch with us, the email address, it is email@weatherbrains.com. All of our social media accounts are on the website, weatherbrains.com. Show notes there, including our picks of the week and other cool links. So on behalf of the entire WeatherBrains crew, I'm James Spann. Thanks for listening. Have a great week and God bless. All right, guys. We made it. That was rocky, but we got it.
Awesome.
Right. Thanks, guys. You'll have a good week. Bye.
Thanks, you too.